Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is one. Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai. Bless you, Yahweh. Bless you, Yahweh Shai. Bahasham Rakak Wadash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops, great millstone. Peace and blessing to the house of David, the elect, beginning with the 144,000, as well as the 1/3, and the innumerable multitude Israelites scattered among the nations, Israelite foreigners, the various men, women, and little ones, little boys and little girls, whom Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, is going to have mercy on this time, whoever you may be. Shalom, Yasharallah, peace, Israel. This your brother Kazak from GMS, Mississippi, former member of GMS Chicago, but I'm still with those brothers in the spirit, back at you once again through the spirit, power, and mercy of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Wadash. And this is going to be an introduction, to a series that I'm going to start doing. And this is in response to a video done by the beloved elder brother Barak Allah, from the GMS Ancient Days camp, the elder Barak Allah, from GMS Los Angeles. He did a video going into the topic of Israelites scattered to the Orient. And Orient, in this sense, meaning the Far East. Okay? Israelites scattered to Asia, or what's called the Orient. Now, when you read in the New Testament, when you deal with the letters written by the beloved Apostle Paul, he wrote to the Israelites that were living in the regions of Asia Minor. Now, Asia Minor, in the New Testament, Asia is speaking about modern day Turkey and the different surrounding regions, okay? But dealing with the lesson done by the beloved elder brother Barak Allah, he was speaking about Israelites being scattered to far Asia, okay, to the Far East, okay, China, Japan, etc. Got Israelites in India, Israelites in the Philippines, Israelites everywhere. We're all over the world. Like I said, it's gonna be an introduction, to the elder brother. This is in response to the lesson he did. So this is a response, but as well as an introduction, as well as a starter video for the series I'm going to do on this topic, Israelites scattered to the Orient. Okay, Israelites scattered to the east. In this case, the Far East. Okay, so we're gonna get some scriptures. I pray you're edified. Okay, because wherever we're located at, wherever we're scattered, we're going home. Yahweh Shai, the only begotten Son of Yahweh, is returning to this planet Earth to deliver his people. Wherever we've been scattered, he's coming to take us home. He's coming to rescue us from all these places of our captivity. Okay, and the us meaning the elect of our people. Okay, because the Lord is only coming to deliver his elect, his chosen of Israel. Okay, so let's go. We're going to start off in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 5. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed, meaning our offspring, in this case, the offspring of our forefathers, which will be us today. We are that seed, those of us that are living today. So he's specifically talking to us. Fear not, for I am with thee. I am with you. He's with Israel. I will bring your seed, your offspring, from the east. So Israelites are in the east. We're in the far east even. And gather thee from the west. Some of us are in the west today. We're in the western hemisphere, what's called the Americas. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth, from all the places where we've been scattered. Even everyone that is called by my name, because he put his name on us, claiming us as his people. And also he gave us the name Israel. He's a prince of the power, which basically translates to he's a son of God. You know, we're the sons of God. Okay? So a son is called after his father's name. You know, even everyone that's called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him. Yeah, I have made him. Yeah, so the Heavenly Father takes confidence in how he created his people, the Israelites. You know, but the point of this, you know, the Lord tells us he's going to bring us from the east. I will bring thy seed. We're that seed, those of us living today. He will bring us from the east. Okay? The book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 49 and verse 12. Behold, these shall come from far, the seed of Israel, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. All right, Sinim, or you could say Sinai. Now, what is the land of Sinim or Sinai? What's that land? Or what's that region? What's that region of the earth? Now for Sinim, the Hebrew word is Sayunyum. Sayunyum, which translates to thorns. Now it says, a people living at the extremity of the known world may be identified with the inhabitants of southern China. So basically, meaning our people that have been scattered to the far parts of the earth, to the furthest parts of the earth, uttermost parts of the earth. You know? Now we're in the uttermost part of the earth, those of us in the western hemisphere. But when you think about the far eastern hemisphere, you know, when you think about the far east, the eastern hemisphere, that's the uttermost parts of the earth to us. So that's the extremity of the known world. Okay? It can be identified with southern China. Okay? Sayunyum again, you know, Strong's definition. Now it says, plural of an otherwise unknown name, Sinim, a distant oriental region. Sinim. Once again, think about China, you think about Japan, you think about the Philippines, you know, the Far East. Okay? So the point of all this, it says we're going to come from these locations because you have to keep in mind we've been scattered there. We're going to come from far because let's go to Deuteronomy. We're going to come from far because this will happen to us. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So there you have it. We've been scattered among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. Okay? As far as to, you know, Far East Asia, you know, the Orient. You know, you have the word Oriental or Orient. It means east. So we've been scattered to the Far East. Now I have an article for you. Now I have a book I'm gonna bring out as well, and I wanted to, call myself rushing to do a video, but it wasn't gonna come out right. You know, it wasn't gonna come out right. Basically, the book deals with Israelite presence in Asia. The title is something else, but we know we ain't no damn Africans. We're not Africans, okay? That one book by Ivan, or you could say Ivan Van Sertima. We're gonna say Israelite presence in Asia. We ain't no damn Africans, man. So I'm gonna eventually bring that book out. I was looking through it last night. I'm like, man, I can't rush through this. Because it's too much information. Because I want to touch on not only how you have Israelites in China, Japan, but we're in India. We're in Indonesia. We're in Papua New Guinea. We're everywhere. Now you have Moab, Ammon, Japhet. You had these different heathens. They're in these lands too, but our people are among them. Okay. Now we have an article here. For process of time, I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to get the important parts, for this lesson. Okay, we're on blackpass.org, and we're not black, we're Israelites. All right. Now the title of this article reads, it says Africans, but we know we're Israelites. It says in African Americans, but we know we're Israelites. In China, a long history, a troubled present, and a promising future, ? This is put up March 9th, 2015. Okay. And this topic is so deep, you can't go off of what's face value as far as what you think an Israelite is supposed to look like, because a lot of our people, we even look like the heathen now. We even look like Moab, some of us, because we've been scattered among them. Scattered among Moab, scattered among Ammon. And I was thinking about that too. Because these are totally different nations, Moab and Ammon. But I was meditating on Bruce Lee. We speculate that Bruce Lee, the martial artist, he was also a pretty good actor. You could say A-list actor when he was alive. But very well known martial artist. From Hong Kong, I want to say. We speculate that he's an Israelite, but I was meditating on it. You have the people of Moab and Ammon. They actually come from a man by the name of Lot. When you read the Bible, Lot was a son of God. Lot, that was Abraham's nephew. Before we would call Israelites, we would call the sons of God. So Abraham was a son of God. Lot was also a son of God. Okay. Now, I was meditating on Bruce Lee. Now, the name Lee, Lee goes back to Lot. I was looking it up a while back, and I may do a video on that eventually. But the name Lot, going back to our forefather Lot, Abraham's nephew, Lot in the Hebrew is Lawat, and it means protection or to be covered. Because when you read his account, he wasn't destroyed in Sodom and Gomorrah and those other cities. He wasn't destroyed in Sodom. The Lord rescued Lot and his two daughters. So Lot means protected or covered. But when you look up the name Lee, it means the same thing. So I was meditating on it, like, that's spiritual. Because the people of Moab and Ammon, they go back to that man Lot. But we also speculate that Bruce Lee himself, he's a Jake. We speculate that he's an Israelite based off his spirit. Which the name Bruce, I looked that up a while back. I want to say it means man of the thicket. Basically, it's a warrior type name. It's a warrior name. Man of the thicket. You think about a fighter. He was a fighter. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, let's get to this article, man. Basically, Israelites Israelites in China. You know, we not Africans or we not African Americans. You know, a long history, a troubled present, and a promising future. Question mark. In the article below, independent historian Robin Lofton explores the past, present, and possible future relationship between the world's most populous nation and people. Now it says African, but we're going to say Israelite ancestry, because the Israelites are great. Hamites are not great. The Israelites made Egypt great. Everybody talking about the greatness of Egypt. You can't attribute that to the people of Ham. That greatness is attributed to the Israelites that dwell in the land of Egypt. We dwell in the land of Ham. We made that great. We made Egypt a powerhouse on the earth, not the people of Ham. Okay? Just like we made America, the modern day Egypt, and also Babylon the Great, we made this place a damn powerhouse on the earth. You know? That's right, man. So it says Africa, you know, the land of Ham, which our people, you know, we did live in that land. And a lot of our people still live in that land today. So we got to balance that out too. We're not Hamites, but a lot of our people do live in the land of Ham, which is called Africa today. And China, the land of Moab, you know, so the land of Ham and the land of Moab have had contact for more than 1,000 years. Some scholars assert that the contacts began as early as 4th century AD. But convincing evidence is sporadic or lacking, beginning with the Tang dynasty 618 AD to 907 AD. Documented evidence of contact and trade exists, showing a relationship between China and the city-states of East Africa. And I'm going to say this, you even have Israelites in the eastern part of Africa. Now, we mostly speak about Israelites in West Africa, but we dwelled all over the land of Ham. You know, even in Ethiopia, you know, in Eritrea, you know. So we're all in the eastern part of Africa. You know, we're even in southern Africa, you know. Jake and damn Madagascar, you know, Jake is everywhere, man. You know, Uganda, you know what I'm saying? Now, don't get it twisted. You have Hamites there. Hamites are the native inhabitants of the land of Ham. But a lot of our people are everywhere throughout that land. And when you speak about East Africa, you got to keep in mind the Arab slave trade, when they were taking Israelites from the eastern part of Africa and selling them, you know, throughout the Middle East and also to Far East Asia. Okay? So it says, once again, beginning with the Tang dynasty in 618 AD to 907 AD, documented evidence of contact and trade exists, showing a relationship between China and the city-states of East Africa. This relationship has evolved over the centuries and led to a migration. Now it says Africans, we're going to say Israelites. Led to a migration of Israelites to China to study, trade, and act as diplomats. At least one account indicates that Du Huan, if I'm saying it correctly, if I'm not, excuse me, was the first Chinese Moabite to visit Africa, the land of Ham, probably in Nubia during the 8th century AD. Now I'm going to say this once again, we're not Nubians, we're not Egyptians, you know, we're the Israelites, but we lived in that land, the land of Ham. Since the 7th century, Israelites, it says Africans, we're going to say Israelites, have maintained a consistent commercial relationship with China. During the Tang dynasty, check this out, Arab traders, which are the Ishmaelites in the Bible, brought Israelite slaves from East Africa to China, because you had what was called the Arab slave trade. When our people were traded, you know, throughout the Middle East and also to China, you know, some even, you know, to Japan, you know. Now I still got to find the info on that, but I can believe it, you know, because you have a lot of people in Japan You know, a lot of so-called Ammonites, they vibe with the American culture so much, they can't possibly be Ammon. You know, and I'll do, you know, a lesson on that, Lord willing. You know, you got people in Japan, they vibe into drill music. Where they get that from? They footworking like they from Chicago. You know, they want to live like they're Chicano. You know, pretending to be Issachar. You know, Issachar in the 80s and 90s in Los Angeles. They vibing with the spirit of Jake because a lot of those people in Japan, the land of Ammon, they have to be Israelites. Okay? Hip hop culture is very big in Japan. You know? What they call it, you know, the b-boy dance, you know, and break dance and all that. That's heavy in Japan. Once again, footworking, like they're from Chicago. The way they rapping in Japan. Once again, they got drill rap there now. All right? So I speculate that we would not only trade it to China, but also to Japan as well. It just makes sense. So we're going to read this again. Since the 7th century, Israelites have maintained a consistent commercial relationship with China, the land of Moab. During the Tang dynasty, Arab Ishmaelite traders brought Israelite slaves. Let me say that clearly. Ishmaelite traders brought Israelite slaves from East Africa to China. They comprise one of the many commodities in the Arabs is large-scale maritime trade with China. During this era, the first Chinese cultural perception of Israelite people developed. We're not going to say African, because the nations know who we are too. These dark-skinned people were known as Kunlun or Kunlun. Salaki for my mispronunciation. They were described as lower class, ignorant, scary, and dangerous. Yeah, because you in a whole nother land. Just like our foreparents were brought here to the shores of the Americas, we were brought to a whole nother region. You know? Not speaking the language, not knowing these different people, you know, that took us captive. All right? There's a lot of history dealing with the slave trade. You know, now a lot of time we get Joel the third chapter, and we'll speak about how you had the people of Ham, so-called Africans, and also the people of Ishmael, so-called Arabs. They came together and they sold us in slavery, and that's true. They did that, you know, because that's prophecy in Joel the third chapter. But also, even our own people, our wicked people, they played a part in the slave trade too. There were just as many, if not more, Israelites selling our people, you know, to the heathen, you know, than the heathens themselves. Now the heathen, they're not going to get away with what they did to us, you know, and they've done more damage to our people than our own people did. But our people, the wicked of our people, did play a big part in the transatlantic slave trade and even in the eastern slave trade, you know, which Ishmael was responsible for that, but our people still aided them. The sellouts of our people. You always had sellouts of our people. Okay? But let's read this again. Okay, so it says, during this era, the first Chinese cultural perception of Israelite people developed. You know? So Moab, they had their frame of reference for Israel, you know, pretty much. The way they thought about us. These dark-skinned people were known as Kunlun. They were described as lower class, ignorant, scary, and dangerous. Although there were far more enslaved Chinese, but we're not concerned with Moab. Now, the Lord Yahweh Shah spoke about that. You know, how the leaders of the Gentiles do exercise dominion over their own people. You know? Well, you know what? That's between them. But we're concerned about what you did to us. If they want to enslave their own damn people, well, it is what it is. We talking about what you did to us, though. Now it says some wealthy Chinese, Moab, preferred the exotic Kunlun slaves. So yeah, although, you know, they were enslaving their own people, Moab enslaving Moab, they really preferred Israelite slaves. They preferred to have our people in slavery. And by nature, we're not slaves. We're the best people on the planet, but we were put in slavery. And they got to pay for that too. That's why all nations go into captivity for what they did to Israel. Now it says Israelite slavery in China peaked during the Tang and Song dynasties, which is from 960 AD to 1279 AD. All right, the Tang and Song dynasties, but the number of Israelite slaves taken to China during this 608-year period is unclear. So they didn't even keep track with the numbers. And that's why you can't be carnal concerning our people. Because a lot of our people even look like Moab today, even look like Ammon. Tight slanted eyes. And to be honest, I got cousins down here in Mississippi. You can mistake them for Moab because of how their eyes look, you know? Because Jake, you know, we come in all varieties, man. But you got to keep in mind we've been scattered among the heathen, you know? And many scriptures support that fact. Support that history. Because the Bible is history. It's world history. Now it says, by this point, Chinese perceptions, Moab perception of the Kunlun became more complex. These perceptions range from strong and mysterious to frightening. The Kunlun in the Tang Dynasty era were portrayed in numerous stories of the period as heroic, resourceful, and ironically, culturally Chinese. So they became like Moab. They became like Moab, speaking the language, you know, eating the food. But, you know, by bloodline and by their spirit, they're a whole different nation. They're Israelites, but they've learned the ways of Moab. But that doesn't make them Moab. You know, they just learned their ways. We were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. That's in the Psalms. Okay? The Kunlun in the Tang Dynasty era were portrayed in numerous stories of the period as heroic. So Moab looked up to us, you know, as heroic, resourceful. They had a great need for us, you know, because Israel are responsible, you know, for doing everything on the planet by the grace, mercy, and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And ironically, culturally Chinese. And this is where you get the topic of Israelite foreigners. Very simple. Very simple concept. If the Holy Spirit works on your mind to receive it. Most Chinese during this period, however, unless they were very wealthy, had little contact with Israelite slaves. Perhaps explaining the different views, the differing views of the Kunlun. Nonetheless, a lot of them still had slaves. And you're not going to find every single thing in detail on these websites and these articles. But we find what we can, you know. And that's really the point, you know what I'm saying? That's really the point. And he keeps mentioning more of the history of Israelite slaves in China. You know, Song Empire, you know. Yuan Dynasty, let me read that. The Yuan Dynasty from 1271 AD to 1368 AD witnessed expanded contact with Israelites through trade and diplomatic missions sent to Madagascar. Now, as far as when you meditate on slavery itself, and especially, you know, when the slave trade mainly took off concerning our people that came here to the Americas, it wasn't Hamites going to slavery, it was Israelites going to slavery. Just like it was Israelites going to slavery during the Arab slave trade. That was Israelites, bro. You know? There's a lot of history people don't know about. You know? Even dealing with the Moors, the topic of the Moors. You know, throughout Europe, Spain, Portugal, a lot of them going to slavery. Before Israelites in Africa going to slavery. You know, there's a lot of history, man. A lot of history, bro. Okay. Now it mentions Morocco. Morocco goes back to the word Moor. The Moroccans, well, Morocco goes back to Moor. Mauritania, Africa, goes back to Moor. You know, and a lot of the so-called Moors, which are Israelites, they went into slavery too. You know, they just believed in a different God, you know. They believed in the Islamic God, you know, Allah. Which that religion, that false belief system was enforced on them, you know. But let's read this again. The Yuan dynasty, 1271 AD to 1368 AD, witnessed expanded contact with Israelites through trade and diplomatic missions sent to Madagascar. Moroccans also arrived in China during the Yuan dynasty. You have a lot of Israelites in Morocco visiting Quanzhou in South China, as well as Hangzhou in the port city of Guangzhou. Salakia, I don't have the best, you know, pronunciations of these Moabite places, you know. But that's the point, bro. Now they're mentioning other parts of Africa, you know, but you got to keep in mind that Israelites were there too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of hidden history. There's something else I wanted to get for you. I could find it before I read that, and that's good too. There's something else I wanted to get, and maybe I passed it. Let me scroll back up. I was just looking at it, bro, because I was looking at it before I started up. But it mentions the different parts of China where there were Salakia. It mentions different parts of Africa where Israelites are located at. You know, and you can fast forward this to today's time. So beyond the slave trade, it says this right here: Nigerians constitute the largest, well, we're gonna say Israelite groups in Guangzhou, followed by traders from Senegal, Mali, Guinea, and Ghana. Israelites are all over in those places, man. You got Israelites in Senegal, Israelites in Mali, Israelites in Guinea, Israelites in Ghana, you know? Yeah, man. And when you scroll up to get another point, it says U.S. and Chinese soldiers plant flags upon completion of the Lato Road, 1945. You know, pretty much when you go back to World War II, World War I, you gotta keep in mind that the Israelites, so-called Black Americans, were brought over there. You know, they were in certain parts of China, and even in certain parts of Japan. You know. And they mentioned the Buffalo Soldiers, you know. If I can get some of that history. And I'm going to run through this, bro, because I'm going to have to get up out of here in a minute. Now it says, over the next 4 centuries, the rise of Europe, and in particular, European trade and colonial expansion, marginalized Chinese/East African contact. Both the Chinese and the Africans, really Moab, and speaking about Israelites in this context, not the people of Ham, okay? Now look to Europe and the West rather than each other as trading partners. Yeah, because, you know, Edom was doing this thing, you know? As is written, you know, the Roman Empire had to be revived. You know, its deadly wound was healed, you know? So, the beast will come back on the scene. Trading connections between China and East Africa were not lost, but neither were they considered particularly important in this new era of global commerce? Now, they're mentioning trade. I want to get something else. Let's get this right here. The first significant, no, it says African American. We're going to say Israelite contact with modern China came during the Boxer Rebellion. Troops from the 10th Cavalry, one of the 4 famed Buffalo Soldier units, were part of the international military force of 20,000 soldiers sent to suppress the uprising, led by the Society of the Righteous and Harmonious Fist Boxers, and to free foreign hostages and Chinese Christians held by them. The point is that, you know, Israelites were sent to China, you know, a unit of Buffalo soldiers. Between World War I and World War II, Israelite jazz musicians such as the Earl Welly Band of Seattle, Washington, rose to prominence in Shanghai and other Chinese coastal cities. Some of these musicians eventually ended up incarcerated by the Japanese when they invaded China in 1937. Right, so either way you slice it, there were Israelites, you know, put in Japan, you know, incarcerated by the Japanese in this case. But you still got Israelites in Japan, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna find more history on that. But, you know, our people, we're all over the world. You know? Let's jump down to this right here. It says, despite the tensions among university students, Israelites and increasingly, we'll say American Israelites, Israelites from America, because we're not African Americans, all right, have been a growing presence in the country of China since 1990. By 2014, an estimated 500,000, we're going to say Israelites, and Afro-Caribbeans, which are Israelites, so-called African Americans, Israelites, were present in China. And that's it, man. You know, that's the point right there. So yeah, man, our people, we're all over the world. In the Far East, okay? In China. And Lord willing, this is edifying. I pray this is edifying, bro. You know? And I'm going to see if I can get this video to play for you, because I want to speak about this one so-called Moabite philosopher, and I believe he's an Israelite. I believe this man has to be a Jake. You know? Now I listen to a little podcast on Spreaker, or you could say Spreaker.com. Now it's hard for me to pronounce the man's name, but it says African Immortal of Taoism. We know we're not Africans, we're Israelites. But I believe this man is Israelite too. You see the name right there, it starts with a T. It's just hard for me to pronounce that name. But I'm gonna play this for you. You know, Lord willing, you can hear it.
Tiegwai, one of the 9 immortals of Taoism. Tiegwai was an accomplished martial artist, known as the Iron Staff Immortal. He lived during China's Golden Age.
So his name is Tiegwai. That's how you say it. Tiegwai.
I'm gonna see if I can find an image of it, because he really looks like a black dude here.
And we can find some images, because you're not gonna be able to see it on the podcast. But these are some images of Tiegwai, the immortal. Let's zoom in on him. Look at his nose. Look at his hair. He looks like an Israelite, bro. You know, you look at his features. You know? Very dominant features, you know what I'm saying? A lot of those older so-called Moabite philosophers, you're gonna come to find out a lot of them are Israelites, man. Surprisingly. There's another image of Chegwai. Man, look at him. Look at his hair, look at his nose. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't like this information, bro. You have a lot of people upset about this information. Look at this image right here. Look at that, bro. Come on now. Look at him. Chegwai the Immortal. A philosopher, a martial artist. Okay. And there's other images, There's more images. He's not a damn Moabite. He's an Israelite. And everyone isn't happy about this information. Now this is on SammyBoy.com. Okay, and you have a little information. You have websites like this where you have people just put all these different comments, pretty much on these different forums, OMG, which means oh my God. Now says Lao Chi. Now we read Chegwai, It says is an African, really Israelite, And this is put up by Ron. So it surprised them, This man Chegwai is a Jake. I do remember reading that a number of Israelites settled in Japan and China, and it says in that Lao Chi, we're gonna say was Israelite, and the first shogun of Japan was an Israelite. Hold on, let me get out of that for a minute. But yeah, let's go back to it. Okay, because they were supposed to have some, some information on Chegwai. We're gonna read this right here, okay? And all this is good. I mean, really, you can just run through all this, but you can read this for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I really just want to get the meat of this all. Okay. Now it says, as for the Israelite presence in early China, there is evidence of substantial populations of an Israelite substratum in the earliest periods of Chinese history, and reports of major kingdoms ruled by Israelites are frequent in Chinese documents. The Shang dynasties or dynasty of ancient China are described. So Shang dynasties, so they have it spelled incorrectly. The Shang dynasties of ancient China are described as having black and oily skin. And I'm gonna balance it out too. Keep in mind that Moab and these other nations in the east, they're considered dark nations as well. Before Esau, Edom went around colonizing the earth, even the other nations had darker skin. But you have to keep in mind that Israel was still scattered among them, though. Now it says the Chinese sage Lao Chi, 600 BC, was black in complexion. He was described as marvelous and beautiful as jasper. And you keep reading, it speaks about in magnificent temples, they would erect sculptures, like him, worshiping him like a god. But the point is that, Israel was scattered among the heathen, who was scattered among Moab. Okay. Now they shouldn't have been making idols of Jacob or anything like that, you know. But at the same time, I mean, the other nations, they do worship Jake. They do worship Israel, you know. You know what I'm saying? But we don't condone idolatry, you know what I'm saying? Making of statues and worshiping it. But the point is there, you know, Lord willing, is edifying. You have Israelites in the Orient, bro. And there's tons of history on it. I mean, you can read the rest of this for yourself. I may come back to this and, you know, read it in another lesson, you know, dealing with Israelites among Ammon, the so-called Japanese, you know, because they mentioned some info dealing with Israel among Ammon. Okay, like I was mentioning before, I speculate there has to be a lot of Israelites among the people of Ammon, because a lot of the people within Japan, a lot of them associate their personality with Jake in America, of the tribes, you know. So we have to be among them. So with that, I pray this is edifying. I want to say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Bahashem Rakapudash, double honor to elder apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, still well. Peace, blessed to the house of David the elect. Shalom.